Cooperatives are vehicles to empowerment that will lead to the social and economic well-being of women and men members. From rural to urban areas, people from all sectors realize that co-ops can help them grow more as a people. Co-op members are able to access various co-op services. Co-ops practice their values as guided by the co-op principles in the Statement on Cooperative Identity, or SCI, issued by the International Cooperative Alliance, or ICA. Furthermore, the SCI states that co-ops are based on the values of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity. In the tradition of their founders, co-op members also believe in the ethical values of honesty, openness, social responsibility, and caring for others. The international co-op movement was born amid the growing poverty and oppression of workers during the Industrial Revolution, as co-op businesses were established to address social needs. But the intense competition in today's world from purely business organizations poses many challenges to the relevance, timeliness, and effectiveness of co-ops, and to the very meaning of the co-op's existence. At the core of co-ops are people who believe that by coming together, they can be strong together as they help themselves and one another in achieving and sustaining a quality life. And because co-ops are by the people, of the people, and for the people organizations, a strong teamwork and partnership is essential among everyone in the co-ops, as leaders, members, or staff. As the ICA shares in one of its messages to co-ops, the worldwide co-op movement contributes to creating a culture of mutual respect and is committed to democracy and participation. In this light, co-ops are very much part of the members and the community's life. Thus, despite all the goodness that co-ops aim to bring to the members and to the nation as a whole, these organizations cannot isolate themselves from issues that members confront daily in their households and in society. The co-ops and the members' lives are intertwined. Therefore, how members are affected by and react to these issues also concern the co-ops. These issues become the co-op's issues as well, and, if not properly addressed, may adversely affect the co-op's efficiency and effectiveness. A weak membership leads to weak co-ops, and weak co-ops result to weak membership. One of these issues that should concern co-ops is the gender equality issue. Gender equality is the foremost element in helping ensure that co-ops succeed in socially and economically empowering their women and men members. Efforts for and commitment to gender equality by various local and international non-government and government institutions underscores its importance in community, national, and global development. Advances have been made in gender equality, but these are not enough, as there is still much work to do. The still existing numerous hindrances to real and full gender equality affect women to a great extent because they are half of the world's population and are also on the receiving end of much of these hindrances. Men and women are almost equal in number in Philippine population, and in co-ops worldwide, half or more than half of the total 800 million members are women. By sheer number alone, women are obviously present in co-ops and a force to be reckoned with by co-ops for their potential participation and contribution. But questions abound. Do co-ops see the women and recognize their presence in the organization? Are they tapping women? Are they valuing women's role and contribution? Are they offering services that can help women in their particular needs? Or, like society that continues to largely discriminate against women, are co-ops still questioning and doubting the value of women's involvement and participation in co-ops? Is the gender issue that is present in the household and community also present in the co-ops, thus hindering the partnership among the members, women and men, that will strengthen and sustain the co-ops? What is gender equality? Gender equality is giving women and men equal rights, benefits, opportunities for advancement, services, and access to and control over resources, and equal roles to play in development as participants and as leaders. The message to co-ops that ICA issued in celebration of the 2010 International Women's Month stated that the event's theme, Equal Rights, Equal Opportunities, Progress for All, highlights the need for government and non-government sectors to join forces so as to make important changes to policies, programs, attitudes, and behaviors to ensure that women fully participate in economic and social life. ICA urged co-ops to intensify efforts in improving gender equality, particularly in this time of economic instability. Co-op resilience can only be reinforced, it said, when programs to ensure equal rights and equal opportunities for women and men are implemented, particularly at senior levels in the co-op movement. Co-ops were further urged to be leaders in assuring progress for all by taking important steps to boost women's rights and access to participation and leadership in the co-op enterprise. But all this concern over gender equality may lead some cooperators to wonder why it is important to keep gender in mind in co-op operations, services, and programs. What is the matter with gender? What is the matter between men and women? Indeed, what is the root of the gender equality issue? At birth, a female and a male differ only by virtue of their sex. Sex pertains to the fixed physical and physiological differences between females and males. It refers mainly to differences in reproductive organs, which in turn determine the capacity of females and not of males to bear children. Sex is biologically determined. When the female baby and the male baby grow up, they also become different from each other by virtue of their gender. Women and men are expected to display different personality traits. Men are thought to be aggressive, independent, decisive, and are able to control their emotions. Women are believed to be passive, dependent, indecisive, and emotional. Women and men are also expected to perform different roles based on what is considered socially appropriate. Men are expected to be the economic providers and women the homemakers, as they take care of the children and maintain the household. Gender pertains to the so-called feminine and masculine attributes that society assigns to females and males. It is a social construct that defines the particular social roles of women and men in society. Gender roles are culturally determined. Gender can be changed. Problems arise when gender differences between women and men are assumed to be fixed, just like the differences between women and men according to sex. Many issues between women and men emanate from the gender differences that are largely shaped by societal culture. In gender role stereotyping, women and men are boxed in by the particular traits, characteristics, and roles assigned to each of them. Another disturbing consequence of gender roles is the unequal gender division of labor. Different work roles are allocated to men and to women according to what a particular society considers appropriate for each sex. Women's contributions to the household are often unrecognized or undervalued. Value, in terms of economic compensation and placement of status, is given only to productive or paid work that society has assigned to men. Domestic and child-rearing work, also called reproductive work, that society has assigned to women, is given scant importance and value. Women's reproductive work is rendered invisible. With the assumption that men are the sole economic providers of the household, Society has also failed to recognize women's productive work. Side by side with their domestic tasks, women undertake income-generating work to support the family. More often than not, however, these women's activities are considered invisible and the income they contribute secondary. An unequal division of labor exists even in community work. Women do numerous voluntary activities that contribute to the well-being of the community. Men tend to be assigned leadership roles with decision-making functions. Women are assigned supportive roles with primarily implementing functions. The attributes, roles, and responsibilities assigned to women place them in a disadvantaged position vis-a-vis the men. This holds true for almost all women of all ages, across cultures and economic status. Yet, the most disadvantaged women are women who are economically poor. Therefore, the assigning of gender roles to women and men in the households, communities, organizations, workplaces, and society based on gender stereotypes and gender scripts rather than on rights, actual competencies, and interests result to problems and concerns that are called gender issues. Specifically, these gender issues may be classified through marginalization, gender stereotyping, multiple burden, subordination, violence, among other gender issues. Gender scripts can be rewritten through sharing of roles. Productive and reproductive functions in the home, the community, or at the workplace can be shared fairly between women and men. Women and men should be given equitable opportunity to get involved in tasks based on their interests and competencies. Advocating gender equality is a way of optimizing the potentials of both women and men who compose an almost equal number in Philippine society. It ensures that both women and men have equal opportunity to participate in and equitably benefit from development processes. Why pursue gender equality in co-ops?
Ang babae, kumbaga, ingon nila sa balay, sa bata, sa bana, o, upat ka ba? Balay, bana, bata, ano to, isa ka ba? Banig.
Nga, gamayng lakaw sa asawa, labi na na-seminar. So, pag-abot away sa pagkakaroon, murag, wala na. Murag nawala na. Naidukar na sila. Sa kaniad to, kung doon ay seminar, pag-abot sa balay, masuko ang banang anong nadugay yung uli.
Ang layok na ako sa panimalay, gigan patit anong buntag pa sa'yo. Mutak ang nari sa kaan, mudagan dito sa taas kay panghipos, kay biyaan lang, hindaanan, murag hipos niya. Pagkang balik ka po diri, niya sahi murag kapaan mo, ato na po sa silong, magsigtuyok-tuyok ka ni, mag-ato na po manilhing, ana, niya pagkahumanan akong luto, ani, ato na po sa tubig, kalos. Niya mangita pa yung lalog sa baboy, kay maglalog sa baboy, palutuon nga ni, pare pagkaon sa baboy. Tindahan ang trabaho.
Pero yun na, kinabuhi kadaghanan nga ni?
Oo, natong unang panahon, nga di pa mo tabang among bana. O na'y, kuhan, tanan trabaho amo adyan ni. Adyan makakuhan. Kaya ang bana na mo, to araman po dito. Kuhan, sige lang ka. Tatang mo naman sa buhay kalayo. Ang among bana itong unang panahon gikan sa bukid, kamura na ilang trabaho, bukid pag-abot diri. magmanda og kape unsa pa din na niya kami magkapuliki mig dagan-dagan unsa mga iandam sila ha nya pagka kuan ana human nila inom og kape mudutong adto anong mga kambalayan dito ana nya naay mag-inom og tuba to ana siya nag-inom nya mulit na lang po na pag uli na parte hubuga anin ha
Ya, sa may ito ani para hubog gani.
away imong kasi nagtanay kay mo istorya ka mo pasabot ka sa iya ginagmay mo singkam gani dahil siya maunay pang hitabo gani sa mo sukol pud ko nya og di man ko kasukol ka na sumbag-sumbag akong ideya mga balay akong wala ko buka akong anak ato kinamanghuran tong babae gana nga taas og buhok
Maglisod.
ora man og kuan ba kanang ay murag makay-kay kay di man bumini adto mag-umalagi diri rami sa balay murag agwantaw na lang pud siguro kay mo may serbisyo ka na mga anak mag-unsa din ha sa mga kubugas ilono nabukal na ako
Iklaro daw nang ba? Ngano sige magpanganak ang mga babae gani sa ito.
di man may pasuroy-suroy yun di man may tan-aw na mo nga mga kuan din na kalingawan murag kaduha murag dili pod kinaiya sa babae niya tumagsuroy-suroy og kanang mga ingon ta disco anak karon kay na may disco di mi kadtong sayawan gani murag nadala po ko ito sa mga nitibo man na akong bana nya unsa gani ang ilang gusto mo koy atong tumanon kay nya kaduha murag dili pud mi kasuro jud kay silang kanang anak bata gani lisod pagdala magdala mi na ipatadyon diri anaon ibutang diri ang bata nya kapoy man kay magsigdal-dala nya unsa ana pagsuroy yung puyo
Sa imong tanawon sa ipituan na nga dili ka makasuroy-suroy o kanang ubang babae nga dili makasuroy-suroy unsa ipito.
murag wala dyan di dyan makita nang murag wala kay higala gani anang hitabo ah kay wa man kay ika-istorya-istorya nga mga lain-laing tao imo haraman yung pamilya nya murag walay mga problema walay mga sama ta pagluno wala kay kasumbungan sa problema kay dala sa imong bana nya imong bana ug maila imong bana ug mosabot nya dili mosabot di away man pud to na ako ni malonda na man ay bahaw o giinit lang na ako akong bahaw
Kuni adto sa kaulang pa mo ako ang kuop. Ako sa kukunitibo akong bana di siya musugot nga magawas-gawas ko di siya musugot nga mo pangkod mga bisita mo atubang. Pero minasulod sa balay niya mag-away ni ana kay di lagi ko niya pa gawason. Nya pasalamat ko sa kadugayan akong gihangyo siya kay nanay gi-organize nga kuop ako siyang gihangyo. Nga dili siguro maayo ganaon lang kunimo nga sige lang kunimo prison sa panimalay. Nya sige na akong istorya siya bisag wa siyang kasabot akong gipasabot sa hantod-hantod sa nay seminar ako sa puban-uban.
Kani adto ba na ang mo desisyon pero pagkakaron hasta kaming mga babae mo desisyon pod kay di mi makauyon sa ilang desisyon unsaon man na kinahanglan bagka usay gyud ang among mga plano.
Si Anto murag maulat do na kumpok ka ulaw ni Anto. Ibang pukutig istorya og kanang mga dagkong tao, mga problema di ko kaantigo mo muhangyo gani nga matabangan ko pero sa panahon nga nakaseminar nako anang kuan nga di ay angan itang tao maulaw po sa atong isa ka tao murag antigo na kumatubang og miyo.
The gender issues prevalent in the household, community, and society may be manifested as well in the co-ops, these being organizations composed of people. Lack of gender awareness and sensitivity, and the practice of gender discrimination, whether consciously done or not, may be happening in the co-op members' families. The situation affects the relationship between spouses and between parents and children. Gender biases curtail equal opportunities for men and women in the family. Most of the time, these also prevent them from discovering their own capabilities, that in turn hinders them from doing what they can do and what they can be, both in social and economic concerns. Most often, these disparities at home experienced by family members are carried over even to relationships with organizations where they are involved with, such as the co-ops where they may be members. Thus, gender biases that affect the homes also affect the co-ops. The co-ops themselves may, in turn, lack gender awareness and sensitivity that resolves the social and economic problems that ultimately also affect the operations of the co-ops. Co-op values and principles do not discriminate against women. In fact, the voluntary and open membership and democratic member control principles specifically speak out against gender discrimination while highlighting the participation of both men and women in the co-op. But a co-op culture that has no gender perspective puts women at a disadvantage. Co-ops that are neither gender-sensitive nor women-friendly oftentimes fail to see women's disadvantaged position and condition in society. What then are some of the gender issues in Philippine co-ops? One, most members of the board of directors are men, even if maybe half or even more than half of the membership is women. 2. Field workers are mostly men and office workers are mostly women. 3. Co-ops are not conscious about the use of gender-fair words and language. 4. Co-ops are income results-oriented and fail to see the human nature of its staff. 6. Preference is always given to males in the hiring process. 7. Gender equality is only for women, a notion that co-ops have when it is invited to seminars and training on gender equality. Many benefits are in store for co-ops that advocate for and practice gender equality. Among these benefits are a more productive staff, a good image to the members and the community for its gender equality programs and services, more members coming from both women and men, and lesser delinquency, which means good business, resulting from good household relations. 1. More productive staff. Problems arising from unequal sharing of housework and parenting may affect co-op staff's productivity and attitude at work. The staff are relieved of the stress and pressure when the co-op gives attention to these problems and helps the staff, especially the women, balance their time between family responsibilities and their co-op work. Maternity and paternity leaves for the staff, for example, are concrete support of the co-op. Thus, the staff become more productive in their co-op work because there is no worry about domestic problems even while at work. The staff, again especially the women, also get more time to participate in developmental or career training for them offered by the co-op. Thus, the co-op is able to develop quality staff to work for the long term, preventing quick turnover that may happen when staff are problematic and not performing well. 2. Good image projected to the members and the community for the co-op's gender equality programs and services. A co-op that implements programs and services that advocate gender equality and integrates gender into its operations enhances its credibility to the members and the community as a democratic, people-based organization. it also shows that having gender equality is having good governance. With these efforts, the co-op is proving that it respects and adheres to the co-op principles and values in all activities. Most of all, a gender equitable co-op shows that it truly cares for its members and also its staff, and it is not just all about business. 3. More members coming from both women and men. Sustainable cooperative development becomes possible through the active and equitable participation of women and men in planning, decision-making, implementation, financial and management control, and other areas of co-op operation. A gender-equitable co-op can help members overcome gender-related problems in the home and community, and also support their greater involvement in the co-op. With these actions, the co-op also paves the way for a more active membership and likewise an increased number of new members because people are inspired to join the co-op as they see its effectiveness and benefits in store for members. Women prioritize areas like employment, health, environment, children, and other areas that co-ops often neglect, especially when men dominate the leadership. Men tend to look to different areas, but when the co-op broadens its scope, it attracts more people from the community to join as members. With men and women often tackling and solving problems differently, the gender equitable participation and partnership of both sexes in the co-op enables more innovative and creative thinking needed in sustaining co-op development in today's aggressive socio-economic and political climate. 4. Lesser loan delinquency, which means good co-op business resulting from good household relations. It is possible to have good household relations with help from a multi-pronged approach of a gender-fair and sensitive co-op, such as by taking into account women's reproductive roles in the planning of programs and services, men leaders being sensitive to women members' particular needs, providing support services like daycare service to enable women and men to attend co-op meetings and activities and tend to their small enterprises, and integrating gender sensitivity training in pre-membership education seminars, among other efforts that a co-op can make. With all this resulting to improved relations in the household, family members who are co-op members improve their productivity and opportunity to increase their use of co-op services, as well as improve their loan repayment. The challenge: being a gender-equal co-op is good for business. Co-ops as a business organization with social objectives can deliver more their socio-economic services and maintain the relevance and effectiveness by supporting members' endeavors such as their enterprises. Co-op should be able to help member entrepreneurs, especially women who own and operate a substantial number of emerging micro, small, and medium enterprises in Asia in resolving challenges in their enterprises. Co-ops can provide facilities like a business development center and information technology support. Again, successful members' enterprises will also lead to co-op growth as members access more services and are also able to repay their loans regularly. Gender equality is positively correlated with economic development. ICA's message in the 2010 International Women's Day asserted that gender equality is not only the right thing to do, it also makes good business sense. Conversely, studies point to gender inequality as perpetuating poverty, rapid population growth, and violence against women. A World Bank report in 2001 said that countries that reduce the gender gap, especially in the area of access to resources and opportunities, achieve more rapid economic growth. Similarly, ICA also reiterated in its message to co-ops that development studies continually show that investing in women has a high return to improving livelihoods, improving access to education for children and health for all, and reducing poverty in general terms. All this make an impact on overall national economic and social development. In co-ops, similar indicators say that women's participation leads to successful enterprises that fully serve the needs of the members and their families. There is much evidence on why it is in the interest of all to make women's rights and opportunities a priority, and more action is needed toward this. Co-op resilience can only be reinforced when co-op programs to ensure equal rights and equal opportunities for women and men are implemented. How can co-ops pursue gender equality? What co-ops should do to advocate and practice gender equality? First, learn about gender equality, gender issues and biases, and in the process, reflect on the co-op's own degree of gender sensitivity and responsiveness. Second, conduct a gender analysis of the co-op. Third, discuss and communicate the gender issues with decision makers. Fourth, set gender equality objectives for the co-op. And fifth, implement these objectives. What are the specific steps involved in this? On learning about gender equality, gender issues and biases, and reflecting on the co-op's own degree of gender sensitivity and responsiveness, the co-op can hold gender sensitivity workshops and family enrichment seminars, workshops, learn from printed and online reading materials, and learn from internal and external experts like gender and co-op advocates and trainers. Part of the learning will be understanding the meaning and relevance of terms like gender sensitivity, gender responsiveness, practical gender needs, and strategic gender needs or interests, among other terms. On conducting a gender analysis of the cooperative, this involves the co-op reviewing its existing statistics in the co-op, disaggregating by sex the co-op data that pertains to leaders, members, staff, beneficiaries of services, and participants of activities, and conducting surveys with interviews of the women and men leaders, staff, and members. To help in the gender analysis of co-ops, the Asian Women in Cooperative Development, or AWCF, a resource center and advocacy body on gender and co-ops in Asia, developed a survey tool to analyze the extent of gender equality in co-op. The tool is based on a framework developed by the National Commission on the Role of Filipino Women, or NCRFW, now known as the Philippine Commission on Women. This framework states 4 entry points to gender mainstreaming, which are people, policy, programs, projects, and activities, and enabling mechanisms. How can co-ops pursue gender equality? On discussing and communicating gender issues with decision makers, people concerned in the co-ops should provide the co-op's Board of Directors or BOD a comprehensive report on the gender issues in the co-op. The BOD should then be brought to act on these gender issues through resolutions and relevant actions. On setting gender equality objectives for the co-op, the vision of the gender-responsive co-op should be developed. Long and short-term objectives should be formulated, together with their success indicators. Implementing gender equality objectives, the co-op should assign a person or committee responsible for the gender equality work in the organization. Gender equality policies should be formulated with sanctions or disciplinary actions for any violations. The co-op should conduct activities to strengthen its gender sensitivity and responsiveness and overall effectiveness as a co-op. The activities will range from the general to the specific, like awareness raising, training, workshops, documentation, conduct of surveys for getting feedback and improving sex disaggregated data, information dissemination and discussions among its leaders, members, and staff, measures to negate stereotypes about women as potential leaders and support them to be such through leadership training, mentoring, and support for their enterprises that will help in their economic empowerment, and implement strategies to promote changes in organizational culture, procedures, and working methods to address constraints among staff like lack of time for balancing work and family, and support services like daycare. The co-op should also be able to provide a budget to pursue its objectives and activities in gender equality. The decision and the commitment to be a gender-equal co-op should come from both co-op and personal levels because a co-op is a people-based organization. The decision and the commitment should also be both on the co-op and the personal levels because the co-op's life and its members' lives are intertwined. Changes in both women and men in the co-op should not be left at the doorstep of the co-op, but should be brought to the home and to the community. And since both women and men co-op members are equal partners in development, they should both rise to the challenge of gender equality in and through co-ops.